this video, we're going to be taking a look at Weequay for the Vintage Collection. So this is the re-release of Weequay. He was originally part of TVC 1.0 towards the very end of the line. And it was during those last few waves where I think that most of these action figures didn't make their way into the United States. Like the Emperor's Royal Guard, Nine Nub, Prune Face, a lot of those type of characters. I think this guy may have been mixed in with all that. I'm trying to think. He's VC 107, I think. Yeah. So it was around that time. And unfortunately, I missed out on him at the time. Nowadays, looking back on it, or looking at it from the perspective of now, there's really not a whole lot of newness to Weequay here. If you've seen my other reviews for like Wolf and the Nikto Guard and even Yak Face and a lot of those type of characters, this is pretty much a lot of the same exact action figures, a lot of those, or it's reutilizing a lot of parts, I should say. But from the TBC 1.0 figure to this re-release here, there is a little bit of an update to him with some of the paint apps. It's not a significant difference though. I mean, I think he just has a little bit of a different color in the face and small stuff like that. Otherwise, it's the same exact action figure. So I've been holding off on this guy for a little while now. I was hoping he would go on sale because like Wolf and Yak Face and the Nikto Guard and a lot of those characters usually show up at Ross, or at least lately they have been at the time of this video. So I was hoping that Weequay would end up being about the same, but so far it hasn't been, and he's consistently stayed about $16.99 even on Amazon, so I just went ahead and got him. Same with Nine Nub. I've been holding off on him for a little bit too, thinking I could get a good deal for him. But he's been hovering around that same price as well, and I will be reviewing him right after this. So one of my biggest goals is to complete the TVC 1.0. Of all the action figures lines, that's one of them that I want to complete. The Revenge of the Sith line I want to complete, Legacy Collection. A lot of those pre-TVC lines I do want to complete. At this point, I'm so close to completing TVC 1.0. I calculated it out after I would get Weequay and Nine Nub, and I'm at like 80% of having, or I have about 80% of the 115. I forget what the exact number I have is. It's somewhere in the 80s, I think, at this point. So I'm getting there. One of the big ones I'm hoping to get to next is Nam and Nor, actually, the Yuuzhan Vong warrior. Been eyeing him for a couple weeks now, so hopefully soon. And then at some point, if I do complete the TVC 1.0, I do plan to do an entire video where I have them all lined up side by side and we'll go through each and every single one. Not sure when that'll happen. That might be something for the far future, but I do hope to make that someday. But anyways, what more can I say about Weequay? Of course, he shows up in around the Jabba arc in Return of the Jedi. He's in the background. He is on the skiff that you can see here. But other than that, he's pretty much a background character. I'm not even sure he has any lines. And he's mostly a repaint, or mostly a repaint or a retool of this guy here, who was released, I think he was VC 40 something. I know he was in the 40s at least, but it's basically the same exact thing, just some slight differences. So let's just take a closer look at this package. It has the Return of the Jedi 40th logo there. Weequay, nice image from the movie. And he's VC 107. Like I said, he was released around the time of like the Emperor's Royal Guard, Prune Face, Emperor's Wrath Vader, Nine Nub. I think even like the Clone Wars Ahsoka, Clone Wars Obi-Wan, a lot of those characters. So towards the tail end. But for all these here, I have most of these reviewed on the channel at this point. So I have Hauser as Ballast, now Weequay, Hunter, Phase 2 Clone, and that's it for now. Not sure about getting Han Solo. Perhaps I'll get him at some point. Same with the Death Star 2 Vader. The Tusken Warrior, if I ever get that, I would rather get the deluxe pack with the Massive. And Cassian Andor, I really don't have any interest to own that at all. So that's the package for Weequay. Let's just go and take a closer look at him. Like I said, if you've seen some of the previous reviews I've done of the Jabba's Goons, there's really not a whole lot of newness with this guy. But he is a nice character nonetheless, and I'm happy to have him. And I look forward to put him in my Jabba's throne room. Which I do have plenty of videos featuring that on the channel if you want to check that out. As I mentioned, from the 1.0 figure to this re-release, same exact action figure, just some paint differences. It's kind of hard to judge if one's better than the other. I guess it just comes down to your personal preference. I have seen some side-by-side images, and I think it's mostly just one's a little bit lighter than the other. This one obviously has the photoreal face to it instead of a painted face. I don't think it really enhances this action figure at all, but like I've said numerous times before, a lot of times when Hasbro goes back and does a re-release of a painted action figure with a photoreal, oftentimes it really doesn't do much for it. I think it turned out alright. He has a nice outfit here. He has those straps here. Looks like he has leather armor on. This is a nice belt here with a nice belt buckle. These pouches. Front and the back. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a holster though for his pistol here. Which is kind of odd. Most of these skiff guards usually do have a pistol, or I mean a holster of some sorts. And for his pants here with his boots. I think that's pretty much the same exact thing as some of the other skiff guards out there. Does have this ponytail here, or dreadlocks, I should say. Has a nice flow to it. Looks pretty good. He has the kind of like the veins sticking out of his neck there too, like he's strained. Some nice detail there. So he's got some scarring on him. He's probably been through the ringer working for Jabba. In terms of his articulation, he does have the ball joint the head, and hinged shoulders and elbows. Swivel wrists, I think. Yeah. And then swivel waist, swivel hips, hinged knees, and hinged ankles. So pretty much all the articulation he's going to need. In terms of weapons and accessories, same weapons and accessories we've seen numerous times before. He does have the skiff staff here. This time it's all just one solid color. Kind of like a grayish brown. And he can hold it well in his hand. Then the same pistol we've seen numerous times before. Like I said, this time without a holster, unfortunately. And here he is compared with his predecessor. I would have to go back and check. I think this guy might be labeled as Weequay 2. I'm not sure. It might be slightly different. So you can see there are some slight differences. This one's not taller than this guy. It just happens to be because he's on a stand. We'll just take that off for the moment. Kind of the same figure. There are some differences. I think the pants here look a little different. He does have the holster there, as you can see. And I'll give him his own video at some point. Just want to do a side-by-side comparison. You can tell this later version of Weequay does draw some inspiration from this guy here. Other than that, that's pretty much all I can tell you about Weequay here. So would I recommend them for your collection? I would if you're a fan of Jabba's Palace aliens or skiff guards, or you want something unique to add to your collection. Even if you don't have a Jabba's Palace display, these type of characters are fantastic for like a Cantina build. At some point, I would like to bring out the Navarro Cantina again and set that up and add all these skiff guards and aliens and everything else inside of it and see how it looks. I think it'll be a fantastic display. And like I said, this guy will look very nice in the Boba Fett's throne room, or I like to call it Jabba's throne room. Still, it's nice to always have an extra skiff guard. He is part of TBC 1.0, so he was essential for my collection. But even with that aside, I am very happy to have him. And he's a highly recommended action figure. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support, and check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.